Whose game is it?
Alabama! To be the man, you gotta beat the man, and I'm saying, woo!
Here comes Alabama.
Hey, throw them foes up. Throw them foes.
Welcome in to the Bama Standard, and as Ric Flair so eloquently put, to be the man, woo, you got to beat the man. And ladies and gentlemen, although we made it a little bit scary to watch at times, we are still that man. Alabama has defeated Georgia 41-34 in probably one of the way too close for comfort games of the 2024 season. But sometimes, as long as you come out with that dub, that's all that really matters. But let's go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. Live chat, get rowdy. Well, I don't have to tell you that. Who am I kidding? Get rowdy. If you're watching the replay, get in the comment section down below. Show us some love there. Listen, let's go ahead and get our sponsor talked about. And I hope you're waving these around. Your title towel. Listen. Your Alabama game day, your Georgia celebration is not complete without a title towel. Go to whitwillsports.com and enter the promo code STANDARD. You get a nice little discount courtesy of your favorite network, the Bama Standard. I'm your host, Justin Riley, and with me is an all-star crew. We got Daniel Petty, C.C. Payne, the star of the show, Dan James, and then we got Marshall Bean. Welcome in, Roll Tide, Roll Tide. Let's sound off. Let's go around the room real quick. You know, before we start getting on our outline, let's just give our opening thoughts. Start it out, Cici. You're the the most hype of all. Let's give it to you. Then we'll get back to Petty, down to Dan, and then to Marshall. How you feeling? Chat, how y'all feeling? Tell us what you think about this. Go ahead, Cici.
I mean, honestly, I don't know if I can really articulate how I feel because I knew we would win. Whatever was going to happen, we were going to win. And one thing that I said before the season started is that this season, we're going to see a lot from the freshmen and the transfers. It was going to be a special season for the freshmen and the transfers. And that's exactly what we saw, whether it's Ryan Williams, Xavier Brown, Damani Jackson, Keon Sapp, and it's nothing to take away from the other guys, but I just felt like the freshmen, it was a different hunger that we saw when Kalen DeBoer, when he was announced, and Kane Womack, we get Nick and all, just different guys, Sheridan. And so I can't put it into words. I just know, like I told y'all before this started, I had my mom's number on speed dial because I thought I might have gotten arrested tonight. Because I'm just like, I'm ready to turn completely up. Like, I don't know what to do or what to say, but all I know how to do is just throw them fours up because Georgia surely was not going to come to Tuscaloosa and beat Alabama. They might go down the street and beat Shelton College. They're not going to beat Alabama. You're not going to beat Alabama. You can go down there to Auburn and beat them because all they know how to do is lose, but you're not going to beat Alabama. That's what you're not going to do. It's Alabama. This is the standard. This is what we are about. And we did exactly what we were supposed to do. And that's it. That's it.
That's what Stephen A. Smith said. Alabama.
Throw them. Just throw the phones up. Smoke them if you got them. I mean, we got them.
We got everything you need. We got Daniel Petty, most importantly. Petty, give us your thoughts right off the bat.
Right off the bat, man. Look, this is a program where legendary players come and go. Legendary coaches come and go. But in the biggest moments of college football, it don't matter who's on the sideline or who's wearing that crimson, this program rises. It always rises in the biggest moments. And that's what always catches me. And DeBoer is now the next name. Everybody wanted to know, can he do it on the biggest stage against the biggest names? Just got your freaking answer right there.
Dan, the star of the show. Tell us something, man. Come on, Pastor. Deliver some message.
Man, how about this game, man? It was almost a tale of two halves, but it played out how I expected in the first half. I knew we were going to come out fast. Kind of disappointed in the way we struggled in the second half, but we got it together. It goes to show you, but when we need to score, we can score, but what we got to work on as a team is being able to sustain drives. That's what's going to help us out in games like this. We know we can score quick, but sometimes that can cost us. But huge win, man, and hey, 1-6, Kirby.
Marshall, you saw a lot tonight. First of all, how's your mental? Are you okay? Are you breathing? How's your blood pressure? Talk to us, man.
My blood pressure is non-existent. It doesn't exist anymore. So I expected us to get off to a fantastic start. Obviously, not to that extent. That 30-7 going into halftime is absolutely disgusting and truly shows what the team is capable of. You got to replicate that for the second half. Obviously, the defense lacked intensity in the second half. But, I mean, everybody's been saying it all night. A dub is a dub. So we can't be too mad. You got to clean up those penalties, though. Like, it's insane. You can't have that in this type of game, especially at the championship level.
I don't know if the defense was so much lacking in the second half. I thought it was more so just being gassed. I mean, they were on the field for a majority of the third and fourth quarter. We just could not get off the field. We stopped them on third down. The problem was Georgia was 5 for 5 on fourth down. That's an issue. But we're going to
one more. Justin,
go ahead.
I'm so sorry. Ryan Williams is the next great. Like, that's insane.
The next,
absolutely.
You mean
he is the great right now?
He's the current.
Can we just go ahead and say he's there?
We're only
he's already there.
4 games in. We're only 4 games in. He's going to do more than this.
Yes, the spirit of David Palmer has inhabited the body of Ryan Williams. There's no question. Well, let's go over some stats real quick before we just jump into everything. Jalen Milroe, my gosh, what a night. We talked all week on our various shows. Would it take a Heisman-like output from him in order to beat Georgia? Whether it did or not, that's what he gave us tonight. 27 of 33 for 374 yards to 2 touchdowns. And also he rushed for 16 carries for 117 yards and 2 touchdowns. He did have an interception, but you really can't blame that on him. It bounced out of the hands of CJ Dupree into the hands of a waiting Georgia defender. But last but not least, Ryan Williams. We're just going to stitch him on the back of his jersey. Doesn't need to say Williams any longer. 6 receptions, 177 yards, and a touchdown. Man, what a performance. And listen, he's not 17 anymore. He's a grown man, the way I see it.
The way he's playing.
But, I mean, excellent play from him. Jahad Campbell had a day as well. Just excellent team win. Well, let's start to break things down a little bit. Let's kind of calm ourselves a little bit. Let's talk about the game within the game. So what I'm going to ask first is our expectations going into this game. Y'all talked a little bit about what you expected. Dan, you said that this is something that you felt was going to happen, a victory, but you predicted it. You called it that Nick Sheridan would dive into his bag. I think we all thought that. But the question was, how deep would it be? And the question actually definitely has been answered. Has Alabama been holding back? A resounding yes. Nick Sheridan, Kane Womack held back for 3 games, and then we saw the end result. Now, you might say, well, hold up. What happened in the second half. It didn't look like it was all was cracked up to be, but we'll get into why that happened. But one thing we can say, the ceiling for the offense and the defense is very high. And if we're clicking on all cylinders, we see what we're capable of. So let's talk about expectations versus reality. And for those who are new in the audience, what that basically means, what we thought going in was going to happen, and we match up to what we actually saw before our eyes. Petty, start us out. What were you feeling before going into this game, and how did it match up with what you actually saw play out in the field? Then we'll go to Sishi, then Dan, then Marshall. Y'all got 2 minutes. Go ahead.
Man, I thought it was going to be a lower scoring defensive struggle. I'm not going to lie. I saw Beck struggle in his last game against Kentucky, being kind of wild with his throws, not being very accurate. It just didn't look like the quarterback you heard going in. I expected Georgia to be able to slow down Alabama's offense a little bit, which they did in the second half. But I think that was a lot of circumstantial stuff with Georgia sustaining drives and just the offense getting a little conservative. but I expected a 21-17 type of ball game. I was not expecting this type of shootout. But I mean, the expectations were for a defensive fight, and the reality was Jalen Milroe probably set himself up to be the odds favorite for the Heisman at the end of Sunday in all the little Vegas sports books.
Okay. CC, tell me about your expectations versus your reality. Chat, get involved too. What were you expecting going into this game, and how did it match up to what the reality was tonight? But CC, let's hear from you. You're lit. Come on, get some energy going again. I
my
love
throat's
hearing
starting
from
to
you.
hurt a little bit because I was
Talk to
yelling
me.
so much. No. So my score prediction this week on the Crimson Dynasty was 31-20. So I had like a 9-point spread. I based that off of us being able to go in early and capitalize, because what I noticed in their game against Clemson and Kentucky is that they had a very slow start, but their opponent wasn't able to capitalize on that, particularly the first half. And so in both of those games, Clemson and Kentucky, they were able to come back. And I think what worked against their opponent was that they weren't able to really do much on offense, but we have a much better offense all around. Seeing Jeremy Bernard getting plays on the ground, I mean, that's huge. And we talk about the creativity from the coach's perspective. All of us said just last week that a part of our success today, a huge part of it, was going to be the coaches and what they're able to do. It was going to be a game of which coach is going to win, and point blank period. But I feel like expectation wise, it is mostly what I expected it to be. I thought that we would go in and, really dominate the first half enough to where if they did, try to come back, we would still have, it wouldn't be enough time for them to do so. And because we saw Beck get rattled the way that he did against Kentucky, I knew that we were going to be able to, do the same thing to him today. So I'm excited. I'm so proud of our guys. I just wish I could just give all them just a huge bear hug all at once. I'm just so happy right now.
And that, I think you made the point I kind of forgot about that I wrote before the game. It's which quarterback gets rattled. And I think Milroe came out poised, and Beck was the one that was rattled out of the gate.
Yeah. Throughout the entire game, really.
Yeah. Hey, man, I'll give him credit. He fought there at the end, but
it's funny. We kept saying eventually someone was going to double team Ryan Williams, and we needed another wide receiver to step up. And for me, I thought that was going to be Kendrick Law this week, that we get him involved a lot more. He didn't get involved as much as I like to have seen. However, my gosh, the blocking he was doing, setting up a lot of great explosive plays to continue the runs that were going on. But Ryan Williams has proved us all wrong again. Apparently nobody can stop him, because we didn't need that second guy. Although Jeremy Bedard did a great job of being that other threat to take pressure off of him. And he held up pretty well. And CJ Dupree, welcome back. We are so glad to see you targeted and involved in different ways. I love how Nick Sheridan drew up plays for him and got him involved. It was truly fantastic. But Dan, I'm taking time away from you. Expectation versus reality. What were yours going in, and how did it play out?
Yeah, I like Petty. I expected us to put up points. What I did not expect was Georgia putting up points the way they did. If you would have told me we were able to, kind of contain their run game, I would have told you that Bama won by at least 3 scores. Carson Beck surprised me with his ability to push the ball downfield and challenge our young secondary. But what's good about it, they learned. They got, because these two teams are going to face each other again, let's face it. And our young secondary, they grew up and they got the reps they needed, for our future matchup against them, because we're definitely going to see them again.
Talk to me, Marshall.
Well, expectation versus reality. I didn't think it would be a first 1 to 40 wins the game. That's kind of crazy.
Right.
When we talk about Georgia and Alabama, I expected a much better defensive battle and a little bit of late scoring. I never would I have taken this. This was absolutely insane. A 4-for-4 start for that offense is incredibly encouraging, but I'm just still really disappointed in those penalties, because this would have been a 55-34 game instead of what it was. if you knock out at least half of those penalties. So
Right.
that's really my only concern. I mean, the
for
young
those-
secondary stood up as best as they could, in my opinion. So
Absolutely.
it's going to be a good test for later teams down the road.
These are definitely very valuable reps, and looking ahead, going to dangerous environments like Neyland Stadium and then Baton Rouge. And I know that Oklahoma's still trying to find their identity right now. Later on in the season, they're going to be a much improved team from where they are right now. So that's going to be a dangerous place to play. But in terms of penalties for those who are keeping score at home, Alabama had 10 tonight for 90 yards. And at times it did come at the most crucial times. But there are also times where I like where we got the penalties, but we were able to respond and make up for what we did to hurt ourselves. So that was definitely a positive trend for me. Before we move on to the next topic, quick shout out to Smoke Man, $10. Did you all see what I saw in the second half? Milroe was slower. I think he was hurt. Your thoughts? I think Milroe was just tired. And to me, I mean, the guy's was running all over the field. But see, if you would you take that?
Yeah, I saw that. It seemed like we came, because we had such a large lead, we came out slower, and we do that sometimes in the third quarter. But to me, a team like Georgia, you can't afford to come out slower. You know, we should have sent them packing halfway through the third quarter. We should have had Ty Simpson in there in the fourth quarter. You know, so it seemed like that was more on the coaches to slow that tempo down. I don't know why, because based on history, just the last few games for Georgia, they always tend to come back in the second half. So we should have kept our foot on that pedal, which would go back to us saying that we have to play a full 4 quarters.
Well, and there was a play where we got behind the chains on like 2nd and 12, and Milroe took off and darted across the field. Man, he hit that gear that it didn't look like, you know, I felt like when the gear needed to be hit in the second half, it got hit. Like more to what Sishi said, Georgia, you know, had 2 very long drives in the third quarter, and our offense wasn't on the field very long. That kind of got us out of sync. So I think it was just more of a malaise of the offense than it was Milroe.
And we got another super chat from Dr. Strange, $2. Georgia versus DeBoer, 0-1. Texas versus DeBoer, 0-2. Oregon versus DeBoer, 0-2.
I'm glad Dr. Strange said that, because if we face Georgia again, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, it's not going to be in the SEC championship. Everybody keeps saying that. I'm like, you're forgetting Texas and their schedule. Nah, he'll get another shot at Texas. If we get Georgia again, it's in the playoffs.
Okay, absolutely. Real quick, I know we're having a good flow, but I want to give a quick shout out to one of our biggest fans, Brittany Hartsock. Today is her birthday. She just turned 29 years old. She's
Happy
one of the
birthday.
biggest Alabama fans and supporters out there. We love you from the Bama Standard Network. I hope you had a great day. And man, listen, a Bama dub is probably one of the best ways to close out your birthday. Check your heart rate, but we just want to give you a quick shout out. Thank you so much for being such a big fan. All right.
And if you email us your address, we'll send Dan to your house for a special sing and dance.
I don't know. You might have to go through the CEO, i.e. his wife, before you commit to parties where Dan performs. And plus, he got saved. He don't do that dance anymore. He can't drop it like it's hot. He lowers it down like it's lukewarm.
He got to let it down like it's warm.
All right, here's the next topic. And super chat, or not super chats. Well, y'all are super, but chat. What surprised you the most in this contest? It could be a lot of things. We have a lot to choose from. And welcome to the stage, Mr. Josh Tucker. Let's go around the room since Josh is late to the party. We're going to talk to him first. Josh, what surprised you the most in this game? And then you can pass it to your buddy, though, Marshall. And then Dan, up to Sishi, and then to Petty. Talk to me, Josh. And also, how much Mountain Dew have you had today?
I'm on one right now, and the video's being uploaded. I may not have took my shirt off 1.5 times. I may have went over that during this game. But what shocked me, man, and I'm gonna just it's probably gonna be a cliche answer for people, man. But Ryan Williams, dude, that play when it was like, dang, we gotta score a touchdown right here, like this game. And next thing I know, like Williams catch Oh, he's going to go out of bounds. Oh, wait, no, Lamar Jackson spins, and then he's in the end zone. And, like, just the roller coaster right there of, like, being like, dang, we're going to win this game to, whoa, worry, really worry. Now we're losing. Now we're back up. Like, man, God. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide. Take it, Marshall.
I mean, real quick, what surprised me was the incredible start to the offense. Like, I knew they were good, but that's next level. That's different level, because their next step is they've shown they can do it. That offense looked incredible. That was a completely different offense, in my opinion. Did we not see how many motions and resets and everybody was communicating? That is next level. So that surprised me the most. All they have to do is figure out how to continue it throughout the whole game.
All right, Dan, keep it going. Keep the train going, sir. What surprised you the most from this game?
50 pass attempts from Georgia. You know, any team would be glad to get Georgia to attempt 50 passes, you know, but they carved us up, you know, to be honest. They carved us up in the secondary, you know, gave us plenty of, you know, film study, you know, but if you told me Georgia had 50 pass attempts, I would told you Bama won by at least 3 scores. But, you know, that was the biggest surprise to me.
Not to be negative for me, what surprised me was not using clock, burning clock when we had the opportunities to do that. And it was almost to our detriment. So that really bothered me. And then the second half too, we stopped doing what got us to where we were, that big lead. We just we went away from everything. We went away from the empty sets and the lack of in-game adjustments. That's something we were all kind of concerned about going in. So thankfully we came out on the right side of things. But going forward, if we don't control that, that could come back to bite us in a way we don't like, especially in places like Knoxville and Baton Rouge. Also, too, I didn't like the fact that we were trying to get too cute with those triple passes when there was really no need for any of that. Listen, what we were doing was working. They had no answer. They are confused. So just keep doing what you're doing. Okay, I took enough time away from you. Cici, pick it up. What surprised you the most?
I'm going to say something on offense and something on defense. I'll start with defense. Defense, the amount of turnovers, the number of interceptions I was so happy with, but also the forced fumbles. I mean, we were so physical, and that's the Bama standard. When we talk about the Bama, that's the Bama standard. When we snatching it, we're not like, no, get that ball to me. I want to see some pick sixes, and I keep talking about it, so we're going to be seeing that. But on the offensive side, the number of receivers who got their hands on that ball, whether it was Jeremy Bernard, Cole Adams, Josh Cuevas, CJ Dupree, Robbie Oots, Kobe Prentice, all these guys, Kendrick Law, Emmanuel Henderson Jr. on the long, I mean, literally Ryan Williams, all these guys. I mean, we literally can name at least 8 to 10 receivers who got their hands on the ball, who made good plays, you know, so that in itself, just those reps that all these receivers are getting with Jalen Milroe, you know, that's a positive sign, especially against a team like Georgia, especially considering all those penalties we kept getting. So to be able to spread it out like that, even amidst the penalties and against a number 2 team, I would say, you know, they're neck and neck. Well, not now, but, you know, I just feel like that's a positive sign. And we have to realize that as a Bama fan base, you know, that's a huge sign because to me, this is like the SEC championship game. I mean, right. I mean, that's just is what it is. You have the best teams in the nation going head to head. So I think overall, we're winning that natty. We're playing in Atlanta. Come January, go ahead and book your stuff. Like I'm ready. Y'all ready?
I'm ready.
Come pick us up.
I mean,
come pick us up. We'll take it.
Like, I mean, this is Alabama. This is Alabama. Like, if y'all aren't sold yet, you're not a real Alabama fan. Just drop at this point. You know.
Yes, pick us up on the way to Atlanta. We can stop by Archibald's. Shameless
plug. Already in Atlanta.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just
that's right.
Shoot.
Well, hey, it would be kind of counterproductive for you to come pick all of us up.
But you know what though? Our former wide receiver Todrick Malone, he did invite us to his tailgate.
He did.
So Atlanta, get ready for that.
Petty, I'm ready to hear from you. What surprised you, brother?
Look, man, to kind of echo on what Marshall said about the flawlessness of the offense out of the gate was just mind-blowingly impressive. But look, the biggest question, I can't believe it's gotten to me, and I get to be the one to talk about it. The biggest question on Jalen Milroe, and we haven't got to see it this year, was the intermediate passing game.
What?
I mean, we've had A.J. McCarron question it this week. We've had not just sidewalk fans say, hey, we want to see it. Can he do it? What happens when Georgia puts him in that situation? Well, guess what? Georgia didn't put him in that situation. Our offensive coordinator put him in that situation out of the damn gate, and he was lighting it up. Man, the 10-yard routes, the 12, 15-yard routes were there all night. And just how well Milroe worked that intermediate passing game tonight. That was my surprise that not only did Georgia not force it, we went to it and it was there. And man, Milroe, that play went to the running back out of the backfield where he dropped that dime it was a beautiful play call by Sheridan. And then just the placement of the ball by Milroe. If anybody's questioning his ability at this point, that's on you. And look, I've wanted to see it, but he showed it tonight on the biggest damn stage possible. You want to talk about Heisman moments? There's your freaking Heisman moment right down there. You beat Georgia's ass on the main stage. And I want to go a step further, man. One more surprise.
Say it for the people in the back, Teddy.
Huh?
Say it for the people in the back.
Yeah.
and I'll go one more surprise. You always heard growing up, and it was just a thing that freshmen are always going to hurt you or cost you a big game or whatnot. That was Bears' big thing. Well, we get behind. Game's on the damn line, and the two biggest plays of the night happened from freshmen. From our boy Hollywood and then Brown making the big pick in the end zone.
Number twos.
Freshmen making plays, man. That's what the game, Georgia took it all. Took the momentum back. This game's over. My wife's sitting right behind me. The game did this to her. And then out of nowhere, two freshmen just do what you hear and don't expect them to do in the biggest moments. But sorry, sweetie, we won. I love you. Man, it was but Milroe, man. Milroe. Hey guys, get your popcorn ready. I mean, if he plays like that, there's not a team in college football that can beat Alabama.
Right. True that. Before we move on to our next topic, got a few super chats to catch up with. Jason Haywood, $5. From this point on, I don't want to hear any Bama fans say Milroe is a running back. This ties into you. Ryan Williams is him. Clock management needs to be worked on. RTR. Let's go down to Davis Lewis Love. $5. The two goals by Sheridan, the pass by Law, the fleet flicker pass back to Milroe kept us from putting this game away.
Right, it did.
I do agree with that. Yeah. And we'll get to that later. Donna, be curious. $2. Ryan Williams playing backyard football. My gosh. Don Parker, $10, and the lights still went out in Georgia. Let's keep it real. Georgia adjusted and played better. Bama took his foot off the gas, happy with the W, but still a half of football short of the standard.
Hey, Justin.
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to say, and I hope that everyone is in agreement with this, they're eating the dogs, right? We're eating the dogs.
We're
eating the dogs.
They're eating the dogs.
They're eating the dogs.
Dogs. We serving them things up on a silver platter.
Bama is making SEC great again.
Oh my gosh.
Very huge and very large dogs.
Xavier Brown.
Dogs.
I'm buying Xavier Brown jerseys for everyone.
Did he make the Denny dog great again? Did he make the Denny dog great again?
They're going to ask who's eating the dogs. Alabama eating the dogs. The Bulldogs.
We're going to have a Xavier Brown rally.
The only one that sits there during these games, though, and think.
Twos for everybody.
All right.
What would Ryan Williams be doing to high school kids?
Ooh.
Like,
that's like child abuse, but he's a child.
Georgia men.
I don't even want to talk about that or fathom to think about that because he's literally, in my opinion right now, and I'm pretty sure this is a popular opinion too, he's the best in the country. I don't care about freshmen. I don't care about sophomore. I don't care about redshirt freshmen. I don't care about seniors. He's the best in the country right now. I don't think there's some people close to him. I ain't saying it's like that, but he's the best in the country, bro.
Yeah. They better be glad he missed Bryson too.
Look at the after the catch, man. Look at what happened with that last catch. Caught the ball. Yeah. It looked like he was going out of bounds. Makes a 2-step to the left. does a Lamar Jackson spin. Two
The
guys
cha-cha
hit each
slide.
other. He goes
I was just about to
outside,
say
does a
that.
little cha-cha electric slide down the 5 yard, does some little Victor Cruz, little salsa in the end zone on them.
JT, what about the Barnum and Bailey juggle in the middle of the field?
I ain't even got to that part yet. I ain't even got to how he was juggling the DB and the ball at the same time and then catching the ball and then turning around. The DB was lost. That was crazy, man. Crazy.
Absolutely. What's crazy is we have some great fans that continue to give us generous donations. Caitlin Voss, $5. And then just below Caitlin, we had Smoke Man, $5. Justin, you are correct. Look at that. I'm correct every now and then. He stopped throwing to the tight end and the short, medium throws that they say Milroe couldn't make. Absolutely. That myth is busted. Ray Parham, $5. I'm surprised that Jam Miller wasn't a bigger part of the offense in the run game. Could not agree more right there.
5 carries tonight? Kind of odd. But I mean, I guess the game dictated it. But
I agree there, Ray. I would like to have seen us be a little bit more balanced, establish a run, especially up the middle. And I know that they were stopping it, but eventually, if we keep hitting them in the mouth, we could have sprung a few. I would like to have seen Justice Haynes get a little bit more involved. I think that he had a motivation going into this because this essentially was like a homecoming game, and he wants to prove to them that they made a mistake passing on him. But
they didn't pass on him.
Well,
they wanted him.
And it looked like he was running hard in the limited carries he got. He had one really solid run.
Then Don Parker, $5. And the dusty, haunted hayride known as Allbarn lost Roll Tide. Shout out to you, CC, for that.
I know.
moniker.
He loves that. Hey, no, shout out to Todd talking about they conjured up a hurricane.
Nick Beasley show, $2. Is it a Bama win without a quick heart attack? Yeah.
Justin.
Man.
Can we address Daquan Menzies' comment when we get a chance? I think
Yes,
something
I will get to
important
that. Hubert, $33.43, $1.99. Womack, you could play a safety over top.
Please do that for me.
Davis Lewis Love, $5. This is the boys' version of the blackout game. Bama was up big in that game and had to hold on for the win. This keeps us humble without losing.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a lot there to get to. Thank you so much. All right. So while I'm looking for Daquan's comment, I'm going to go ahead and move to our next subject. And audience, let's go ahead and get involved here too with this. The takeaways, the positives and the negatives. Let's talk about what we like. I know we named a lot of things here, but I'm sure there's a few things left to kind of uncover. We'll start out with Cishi. Tell me your one positive and then your one negative, and then we'll move to Petty, then back down to the brothers here, then over to the star.
I'll say this. I'm a diehard Alabama fan, always will be. And I have a certain expectation when it comes to Alabama. A part of that has to do with what we used to see a few years ago when we come out of that tunnel barking and letting the opponent know this is our field. And that's exactly what we did today. All that noise coming from under that tunnel, that's what we're used to, the Tony Browns of the world. All these guys that we used to have coming out of that tunnel, even if we were playing in Atlanta in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, I'm happy to see that heart and that cohesiveness on both sides. I mean, we literally played like a unit. Like all those guys were on one accord. Yes, we had mistakes. And I know a lot of people want to kind of hone in on the penalties and different things like that. But my thing is like what we should be honing in on is that we have that heart back, that heart. And that's what we need. Honestly, that's what's going to help us stay in a game with a team like Georgia that comes back after a 23-point lead. That's what you need, that heart. Otherwise, go ahead and pack up and go home.
So that's very well said.
Breaking news.
Daryl Duke Johnson has shut down his recruitment. He tells On 3, I found home. I love it here. I'm 100% locked down, shutting his commitment. Roll Tide.
I mean, but we'll recognize. But are we surprised?
Just happened right now.
Hey, save that thought. We actually going to get to that a little bit later. We're jumping ahead, but go ahead, Cishi, before we.
Yeah, it's the heart. I see. I tend to. We focus a lot on the externals. I try to look at the intangibles. I want to see how the quarterback, how he's relating to the guys on both sides of the ball. I want to see how are we when we come out of that tunnel? Because there's been times where we look like we literally just got out of bed, or maybe something happened in the locker room. But to see them coming out like that. Them up there saying be sci-fi coming out of that tunnel. I'm like, oh, we winning this game tonight. I don't know what Georgia thought coming up in the Tuscaloosa, but that hurricane that hit up in Georgia, they ain't bringing that to Tuscaloosa. We winning that game tonight. So that was the main thing. And I would say the only negative takeaway was the fact that we're still seeing the issues with the penalties. But I like to focus on the positives. I'm proud of our guys. We win in the Natty. I'm gonna keep saying it. I don't care what anybody have to say. We're the best. Georgia's gonna beat Texas, so it's gonna be a showdown in SEC. But it's Alabama. We're the best of the best. Period.
And I love how you brought up the B sci-fi cheer. When I heard that over the analysts giving their quick summaries of things, I got fired up. And
I was saying it too.
Just like you. I said, we're about to win this game.
Yes. Like, I mean, I'm just like, we have to pay attention to that stuff. I know you get nervous and all of that, but this is Alabama. We win over here. We not like Auburn. All Auburn can do is lose. We're not like them. Leave that down the street. This is Alabama. We win. We have the expectation of winning, and y'all got to keep that losing mentality, all that crying. We don't lose. And if we happen to lose, we still going to come back and win later. So, I mean, that's just what we do.
That's right.
Come on.
Petty.
Now.
Tell me your positive and negative.
Well, I'll start with the negative. I'd like to see, I mean, you got to get better on third down efficiencies offensively. I think we're 3 for 11 in the night. I mean, that's something, if we're going to nitpick, you want to get better there. Got to be more, you got to keep drives going when you get to third. And on the flip side, I think, we did good on third downs on defense, but fourth downs, they were 5 for 5 tonight. Good God, get off the freaking field on fourth down. Drives me freaking nuts. But, man, the positive takeaway, Georgia hasn't lost a game since the man that was in the box was the actual flipping president. Since COVID, in regular season. We just beat the freaking Georgia Bulldogs. Kalen DeBoer gets a signature win 4 games into his tenure at Alabama against the biggest beast in college football in the regular season. Positive takeaway is they came in, and again, that – you heard that B-5 side chant, man, and our guys started texting like, yeah, you hear that? And I don't know if people understand how much that resonates. That team was freaking locked in out of the gate. And it just the positive takeaway is I saw a program that can win a national title. I mean, they punched Georgia in the damn mouth. And look, yeah, it got ugly in the second half. So what that happens when you go up 30-7, I don't care who you are. It's natural human tendency. You're not going to have that same vigor you did when it was 0-0 when you were coming out making that chant. But guess what? You took this crazy ass comeback, and instead of folding like a cheap tent, you threw the next damn punch and then took it away from their hearts at the very end. That's what championship programs do. I saw a championship program tonight.
Wow. Now, the brothers down below, how do y'all follow that up? I know JT's got something. I can tell he's moving around. That's not just from the Mountain Dew. But go ahead.
It's not just from the dew. I'm getting my voice back, too. So some positive takeaways from this game. Obviously, we're going to look at the first quarter, and you're going to say, boom, positive. There it is. Just play the whole tape of the first quarter. Play calling, movement, even on the defensive side of the ball. Everything was great and beautiful. First quarter, you can look at those things and the way we moved the ball, the schemes we had. If you looked at it when we had Beck, we were pressuring Beck to the left. So when he went that way, the way he looks, he don't like to roll that way. A lot of his pressure's that way. So when you look at those things later in the game, you'll see that we were blitzing on a different side. Beck was staying in the pocket, making better throws later in the game, and that's when he was hitting guys down the field and started picking us apart. So those are some negatives we got to look at. So the scheme went good early, kind of a little bit off, a little bit late, but we gathered back. And I want to touch on something real quick because it reminded me of everybody in here remembers Trey Kirkpatrick when we played South Carolina, and he got picked on that game. And they threw to the end zone on him, and they tore him up that game. He was a freshman. He was a young guy. I think they picked on Brown tonight a lot. And then late in the game right there, Brown turned his head around, which I've been screaming all night to turn your head around. And he would already have probably 3 picks himself. And right when he turned his head around, the ball just like it was like Santa Claus, just like, here you go, boom. So positive takeaways there. Game script went great. it went off a little bit like Petty said, but also what Petty said made a lot of sense. And what was my favorite part of it is that we didn't fold. We saw them coming back. They started to come back, grab things back. Like, no, okay, not going to happen. Boom, Ryan Williams, sprinkle, razzle dazzle. Here's a little bit of sprinkles on top of it. Boom, 41. Let's go.
You got to look.
All right, Marshall, give me your positive and negative, and then we'll let Dan go.
No way I can top Petty or Josh right there. My positive.
Was that your negative?
Like is again, it has to be pretty much what JT said. That first quarter was. Can you have a better first quarter? Like realistically, 21 skunk in the first quarter is really hard to do against the number 2 team in the country. People are gonna forget that. Negatives again. I'm still stuck on the penalties. Someone said it earlier. 10 for 90 yards. I'm just. And then we said it earlier. I just want to ask everybody a quick yes or no question. Was the interception Milroe's fault?
No.
Oh, no.
I mean, so there you go. And if that's an incompletion, it's at least another 3 points, and they never retake the lead. So tit for tat, but.
Okay.
That pick was like one of those things, man. It's like, it's like one of those bang, bang plays. On the hand, get hit, pop up.
And it kind of hurt where it happened in the game because they were still on that roll. So
yeah, we were inside the 10 right there for 15, something like that. So, yeah, in the red zone. So, yeah, Roman Harper touched back on what he said on this channel. What did he say was going to be one of the big keys? He said there was going to be 3 things I was going to decide this game. But the first one he said was going to be the red zone stats. What happens in the red zone? So, there was a lot happening in the red zone in this game. So there's a lot to take away there.
Roman definitely knows a few things, but someone who definitely knows more things is Dan. We have yet to hear from him on this subject right here. Dan, real quick, tell me your positive and negative takeaways, and then we're going to talk about a few things that a lot of people are going to be discussing this upcoming week.
Okay, yeah. One thing I want to talk about, I want to give a shout out, to a group that, went under the radar but played an outstanding game. That's the offensive line.
Ooh, yes.
They allowed Milroe to have a clean pocket. He was hardly pressured any. They played a tremendous game from tackle to tackle. Big game from Parker Brailsford. The entire offensive line, played tremendous. We could have run the ball more. Allowed the guys to be able to do what they do best. But if I had to say a negative, it was just getting off the field, especially with the penalties on fourth down that sustained a couple of drives. The pass interferences. We got to learn to play a cleaner game. But we were aggressive, but then again we were a little passive with the off coverage and allowing guys to get open touches.
Absolutely. Let me highlight Daquan Menzie. He has been waiting ever so patiently. He's getting the side eye from his wife right now because he's paying attention to us, and it's late at night. But we love you, brother. It's been too long since we've had you on. We're going to have to do something about that very soon. But he says, we became too conservative, and the defense on the field too long. You can't stop a good team all day. With that being said, I love Ryan Williams. He is a dog. I played with his father. Absolutely. Hey, don't be conservative. Do what Steve Spurrier used to do back in the day. Just continue to hit that jugular until there's 0-0-0 on that clock, because you never know. As seen tonight, you can't keep a good team down. And everybody was writing off Georgia, but I knew they still were Georgia. And at some point they were going to show up, and they did. So before we move on, we got a few more super chats. Thank y'all so much for that. Nick Beasley show $5 saving. Said on McAfee, show a late game win early can be a dagger to the heart of a team. Hope that doesn't happen to our boys. Don Parker, $5. When the players were coming out chanting B-Sci-Fi, you see DeBoer with the head nod.
Yeah.
Ollie, $9.99. Positive takeaway. Wanted to see Bama when the game was on the line, and a freshman called the game. Hubert, $33.43, $4.99. Hey, stark contrast from Saban. Freshman showed up. This is how you develop and talked. This is how you developed, talked, and stay away from the transfer portal. Okay. So yeah,
I think he's
absolutely.
been
He's been
celebrating.
develop talent. I think that's what he meant.
Okay, understandably so.
I think you got a few roll tides.
Even celebrating, had a few roll ties.
Few roll tides.
Because if you rely too much on the transfer portal, you will be like a team that we see from Tallahassee that we're not going to bring up right now, but you know who you are.
Boy,
Hubert,
listen,
33-43, 499. Let's see. Stark contrast from Staven playing freshman. How you develop talent, stay away from the transfer portal. He wanted to get that out again. So there's that.
Hey, Hubert, man, hey, you are seeing freshmen that are making plays now that are, you're developing. Good Lord, these guys making plays now. What are they going to be in a year or two?
Absolutely. Or a few games down the road.
Don Parker threw out a super chat, but I got a question. Can I ask Don Parker a question? Because, man, he was not happy the first couple of weeks with this Alabama football team, saying they were not up to the standard. Don Parker, did they play up to the standard tonight? Did this one count?
He said not in the second half, and I kind of agree. He did say that, and I kind of agree with him.
All right. Let's talk about the ultimate impact of this game. We're going to have some knee-jerk reactions. We're going to first touch on recruiting. What kind of impact will this have? I felt, regardless of how the game planned out, this is going to drive several of our recruits to make a decision, a lot of it based out of emotion. Felt like if Alabama won, you're going to see a lot of these recruits, as seen earlier from JT, all of a sudden firm up that commitment and lock it down. And you would see some others possibly flip from where they initially chose to come over here. But if Alabama was to lose, then all of a sudden you probably would have seen a movement in the different direction. But we got the positive side of that. So let's talk about that real quick. Let's go around the room. What kind of impact do you feel like this victory tonight is ultimately going to have on recruiting? And we'll take a minute each to describe the outcome of that. Start with Daniel, then Sishi, Dan, and then the brothers down below.
Oh, look, man, I don't need a minute. It's going to be positive. You're going to see guys like we talked about earlier. I talked with Sishi on a quick little clip. Ivan Taylor, guys like him are going to be much more interested in hopping in the boat because, again, we've talked about it. DeBoer just proved tonight that we knew the guy could coach, but now he just did it at the highest level in the SEC at Alabama against one of the monsters of college football. Yeah, it absolutely makes your program much more sellable to the kids you're trying to get in. And I mean, there's a ton of blue chips that were there tonight, watching tonight, that I absolutely think we may see pull the trigger very soon.
Chat, what do y'all think this is going to do for recruiting? Did we just gain even more in this already impressive class that everybody said that Kalen DeBoer cannot get? While you write your answers down, Sishi, talk to us. How do you feel this is going to impact recruiting?
Yeah, I mean, I think we saw a glimpse of people, recruits buying into Coach DeBoer even during A-Day. The amount of turnout we had almost like week after week with different recruits coming in. Some of them were kind of on the fence, but I even think, you mentioned Petty, Ivan Taylor. I'm thinking about Justice Terry. He wasn't able to come because of the hurricane, and they moved his game. But I still think that he's a guy that we could possibly get. I think there are a few other guys as well who were on the fence and being maybe a little smarter about their decision making. I think there were some who, they saw what was going on down there in Florida State and them, getting a few guys from Alabama, and it just the facade that they were going to do anything this year, and they're going to have a change of hearts soon. Michigan is going to implode. How you have different teams where they're not going to really measure up to, what people thought they would do. And so we're going to see other guys, come as well. So I just think it's going to skyrocket. Whoever we had, the different guys that we had there tonight, Ivan Taylor was one of them. Expect to hear a commitment pretty soon.
Ooh, I love it. Dan, you're the head of all things recruiting. I know to a lot of these young guys, they were kind of waiting in the wings just to take a little look to see, hey, is Bama still Bama? Well, I think they got an answer tonight. But Dan, talk to us about recruiting. What kind of impact is this going to have?
Yes, Bama had over 100 blue chippers on campus for this visit. And I think more so this is going to have a bigger impact on the 2026, 2027 class, future classes more than it will on 2025 class. We're just gonna tighten up a few pieces on the 2025 class, but this victory here shows that Bama is still the gold standard in the SEC, and that's what the younger class, the underclassmen, that's exactly what they wanted to see. You know, is Bama still Bama? Is Georgia? You know, they were saying after the season, oh, Nick Saban's gone. Kirby is the new Saban. Kirby had the blueprint. Well, guess what? You know, DeBoer has his own blueprint that Kirby doesn't have his hand on. You know, Bama is still the gold standard in the SEC, and they showed that to recruits tonight.
Absolutely. It's funny, leading up to this game all week, I heard from Georgia fans and other fans that, hey, Saban ain't there anymore. Well, he doesn't really need to be, does he? We're still doing Saban things. All right, you two guys right here, talk to me. How's this going to impact recruiting? Marshall, you're leading off.
I am on this turn. Real quick in the chat, someone said yes, there was, if I'm not mistaken, 130 plus recruits at this tour this weekend. That's what we saw earlier before the game. That's a lot of recruits. But Justin, you asked a really interesting question right when we started this off. I feel like first things first, winning solves everything. So of course it's going to impact recruiting in a good way. But you said, what was the impact of this game? And I feel like that's just as important of a question. And obviously, with Georgia's future schedule, this is definitely, without a doubt, hurts them more than it would hurt us if we had lost this game.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And also kind of the way, because you had to force yourself to go back into a hole and play a way you don't want to play. So I think it's the impact of the game is just as important as what it does for recruiting, especially with what Dan said with the 26, 27 classes, and even a little bit further than that.
Oh, awesome. All right, JT, I see you moving around back over there. I know it's the Mountain Dew itch, but that's okay. We're excited. We love your energy. Close this part up, man. What kind of impact does this have on recruiting?
So it's like if Nick Saban was to have created a rocket, okay? And then he said, hey, DeBoer, when you come in, all you have to do to make this rocket go is press the green button, okay? The green button is called a win, okay? So if you get a win, you make it the rocket go, okay? He got a win. And if you keep winning, that rocket is going to keep going. That's recruiting right there. That's the rocket. It's an analogy. If you think about that, it's so true, man. The more he wins, the more this happens. Like you've been saying this, Justin. I'll say you've probably been the first one to say this. You were saying this back in April. If Bama starts rolling in those wins, especially beating Georgia, you're going to see recruits starting to do what Daryl Duke Johnson just did. Locking it down, saying this is where I'm at, or you're going to see some guys flipping like pancakes on Sunday morning with some syrup on top, a little bit of cinnamon, if that's what you like. That's what's going to happen here. It's no ifs, ands, buts. You're seeing it happen. DeBoer's the number 2 recruiting class right now. And to add on to that is going to be just mind-blowing right here. And being able to add on to that, especially with this win right here. This win is like, when we look back at this, like, who said the blackout game for Nick Saban? Perfect way to look at this. Mm-hmm. And it's crazy that it's the same team. That's the crazy part about it. But yeah, that's the impact on recruiting for me, man.
No question. Like Eli Gold once said, the more things change, the more they remain the same. And this is what we had tonight. So, all right. So let's talk about one more thing. And let's talk about the perception of Kalen DeBoer across Bama Nation, but also against the nation. I think a lot of people were probably unfairly judging him on what the outcome of this game was going to be. You can't honestly grade a coach based off of one game. But let's talk about what's the reaction going to be. Are the Bama faithful going to be satisfied that, hey, we in fact do have our guy? Or are they still kind of having their doubts? And then what's the media going to say? Are they going to project him to elite status? Or are they still kind of wait and see? Talk about the knee-jerk reaction from both Bama and College Football Nation. Start us out, Cishi, then go to Dan, then up to Petty, then down to the brothers.
Yeah, I'll say, I was locked in with Coach DeBoer months ago. I want to say around April, that solidified it for me when I got to meet him. But even before that, just when they announced him, I went and looked at his record and I'm like, this man is a winner. And you put a winner with the type of players that we have, he's going to win. We get the best talent in the nation. So, of course, certain people, even within the fan base, they had certain expectations like a Coach Saban. So you'll think of a Kirby Smart, not now, Dabo Swinney, but, you have certain coaches in mind, Steve Sarkisian, and rightfully so. But all those guys, most of them, they coached under Coach Saban or they had some form of an Alabama tie. So just because, Coach DeBoer didn't necessarily have that tie, it didn't make him any less, valuable. And I think that actually worked to our advantage because people didn't know what to expect, and so I think that it was exactly what we needed. I think the timing of it was perfect, and that's why we're seeing over 100 recruits in Tuscaloosa this weekend.
Love it. What do you think, chat? What's the perception now of DeBoer? Y'all happy? Why y'all think on that? Dan, pick it up.
Yes, we talked about it earlier. DeBoer checked off all our boxes. One, can he coach? He was a winner, proving he won at every level he's been at. He checked that box. It was just one box he had to be checked off, and that was, can he recruit the South? He checked that box off this summer. So the media, I don't know what angle they want to play, but they got to acknowledge the fact that the guy is a winner. He's a proven winner. He's proven he can recruit. Now can he? The only thing they probably can say now, well, he's winning with Saban's people. Wait till he gets his own.
Yeah.
I don't know what else the man can do. I mean, I guess win a national championship. I guess multiple national championships.
Agreed.
He took. Hey, not too many guys would want to follow the greatest coach of all time, the greatest coach of all time, and Nick Saban. So we got the right guy. He is the guy, and so it's whatever the media want to pick, whatever picture the media wants to paint of him, that's up to the media. But we know what we have in Coach DeBoer because he checked off all our boxes a long time ago.
No doubt. Will they continue to move the goalpost? Petty, tell me your thoughts.
Well, I know this is crazy, but I have friends that don't necessarily just cheer for Alabama. I'm in group text with Tennessee fans, Auburn fans, Mississippi State fans, Texas fans,
Georgia fans,
a couple of Georgia fans, 2 or 3, and a crap ton of Ole Miss fans. And I can tell you what the perception is. Oh, shit. They still got a coach. This sucks. Bama's not going anywhere. So the perception across the board is, damn it, we thought this was the chance because the GOAT is gone. And like they said, and I wish I had the button on. It was DeBoer, the GOAT, and now DeBoer. Like several fans have said, look, man, is he the GOAT yet or DeBoer? No. But everywhere he's been, he's done nothing but win. And now he's at a place that has a higher ceiling for winning. You put a guy that can win anywhere at a place that has even a higher penchant for winning, it's a pretty damn good cocktail. And I think the rest of the country saw tonight on the biggest stage. What has this been all week? A heavyweight fight. You got Dave Matthews giving the most bone-chilling damn intro I've ever seen to a football game. You've got presidents here. You got, every celebrity known to man. It is the biggest stage in college football, and the dude just won. I think the perception is pretty well out there that, oh, shit, Bama ain't going nowhere.
All right, you two. You've been waiting for a minute. Close out this topic. Tell me the perception of Kalen DeBoer. Start us out, Marshall, and then we'll let JT do his thing.
I know we've been on this one for a little bit. I'm just going to make it short and quick because everybody has made the point. But the statement is Kalen DeBoer is a modern-day genius in his own right. The man only knows how to win. His record shows of it. There isn't anything he cannot do that has been proven. And it's just incredible. Just absolutely incredible.
You want to know what Kalen DeBoer, the perception on it is? That man is the dog catcher. That man is the muscle putter on. That man ain't playing with these boys.
Hey,
They better put him on
turn up,
notice.
Josh.
Bama is here.
Turn up, Josh. Let him know.
All right, we ain't
Let 'em
went
know.
nowhere. Big Bama, big stepper. It's
Big
all
hey.
season, all smoke. We coming next. Vandy, I hope you ready. All right,
Look,
Vandy,
hey,
coming
let
next
South
week.
Carolina know, right?
And South Carolina next.
Missouri
Tennessee.
too.
I
Hey.
ain't gonna try to say that his last name, kind of like Tonga Valoa. It took me about a year or two, so give me a little bit. But we coming for you too, all right? And we all contact, Playboy. We all contact, all right?
Playboy. Hey,
No diddy.
hey, Josh, tell them play if they want to.
Hey, you want them gangsters at your house?
Hey.
We can set this off. Hey,
They call me bad. And
nah, I punish you. You ain't
my
equal
equal week.
people.
I ain't
One of
what
you.
it. Yay. Since
Hey,
98,
let's
I
go.
brought my plate up
Big
off the
Bama, big L's.
Wait, let them know. Let 'em-
Big L's.
That segment
They
brought to you
better ask
by
about
that segment brought to you by the Shade Room. All right.
Dan, you're not supposed to be dancing
Hey,
to that. You done
play if
turned.
they want to.
Yeah,
They,
you-
look,
White
Man,
chocolate
please.
segment.
Real quick, we got some super chats. Nick Beasley show $5. This game reassure recruits that DeBoer knows what he's doing and is the right coach for
Yes.
them to play for. And then Don Parker's got something else to say. We love hearing from Don Parker. $10. The first half was to the standard.
Mhm.
Second, definitely not. DeBoer showed emotion tonight, and that was great. However, he should have told them at halftime the score is 0-0. Keep playing 4 quarters. Then Nick Beasley show $10. DeBoer might be winning with Saban's players, but do people forget how many Bama players left when Saban retired, and he had to win the locker room over?
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Very,
and hey, it was quick how that narrative flips, Justin, because it was so quick. But when DeBoer took over, it was, well, everybody left. You ain't going to win. Everybody left. Now it's, oh, well, you still got Saban players, though. So it's like,
Yeah.
which one is it, bro?
Crazy.
Which
Hey, man.
narrative is it? I need one.
They're moving the goalpost, like
I
Justin
need
said.
one. All right.
moving the goalpost. All right,
And-
so
In
we're
one quick narrative I want to give on that second half. I know, look, everybody's like, damn, we let off the gas. We got conservative. We didn't like it, yada, yada. But, man, let's not forget what was in that other locker room. Again, I was listening to A.J. McCarron this week talk about Kirby Smart being one of the best halftime coaches and motivators and halftime adjusters in the game. He said, I've been in the locker room with him. I've heard him talk to defenses. Know this, if something is working in the first half, he is going to adjust to it. He's one of the best in the business. So look, I get we didn't like the way the second half looked, but at some point, sometimes you do kind of got to tip your hat across the way. That guy's won 500 straight games coming into
Right.
this one.
Good
He's
deal.
a hell of a coach, and he got the best out of his team in the second half. But what you want to look at is one of the best coaches in college football put a halftime together out of his ass, had his team playing out of their ass, and we still were able to handle it and come out with the W. So I want to look more at that versus, well, I agree. You don't want to have that malaise in the second half, but also, man, you're going against a dude that knows what he was doing on that other side, and to be able to answer the bell when you got it rung back at you is what you really want to take away from that second half, I believe.
absolutely can't agree more. We got one more super chat, and then we'll move on. Adolfo Valentin, $5. There were too many quarterback runs in the second half. That, in my opinion, almost cost them the game. If I'm a running back coming out of high school, I guess that serves as a negative. I agree. I think that we should have tried to get Jam Miller and Justice Haynes a little bit more involved. Inside.
Yes.
Absolutely. Be a little bit more balanced. So keep
We
that
got
in
the
your
best guards in the country, so I don't understand why not.
Between those tackles, man, we needed some more. About 10 to 12 more runs in those tackles would have been nice.
All right, real quick. Give me a 30-second answer here. Bama going forward. Where's our comfort level? I know we're going into Nashville next week to play Vandy, but we kind of know how good things can be. Kind of give a nice little outlook. What's your comfort level? What do you feel like the ceiling is? Start us out, Petty, then go to Cishi, Dan, and then the brothers down there.
And we're headed for a showdown. I mean, I know we're going to Nashville, but we're headed for a showdown in Knoxville. But I think the ceiling's, after tonight, the ceiling's national title, guys. This is Alabama. What do we talk about all the damn time? There's one standard, championships. And tonight we proved that there ain't a team in this country that can play, that we can't play with and or beat when playing at the top of our game. So going forward, the expectation is to build off tonight, get better, fix the things that do need fixing, the penalties, the third down conversions, getting off the field on third and fourth downs, fix the things that need fixing and keep getting damn better, because you can get better. Look, that is a great win, but there is always things to build on. Right. I'm with Don Parker on this. You're never satisfied. You've always got to keep working. You got to keep working. But, man, we're going forward, the sky's the limit.
Sishi.
Yeah, I feel like the schedule of the games worked out in our favor, because you want to have a South Florida type game before a Wisconsin type game, so that you see certain issues. You know, you're playing against a Byron Brown, you know, so that's a good test for the defense, you know, and I think it allowed us to kind of work on certain things. The penalties, of course, it still needs to be worked on, but I think as far as the players overall in our scheme, it helped us to kind of fix certain things before playing Georgia. And this game is good preparation before playing a team like Tennessee on the road, you know, and other Oklahoma's on the road, you know, the different games that we have coming up. And so I think that it's working out in our favor. Also being able to see so many different receivers with their hands on the ball, that helps us to see who we can put in certain situations, especially seeing how Sheridan opened up that playbook. So that lets me know that there's so much more coming down the pipeline with him. Like, the sky is the limit with I wanted to see, I didn't want to see a Tommy Reese. I didn't want to see a Bill O'Brien, like he used to sit up in that box. I wanted to see an OC who knew what he was doing and who wasn't scared. I didn't want to see an offensive coordinator that was going to try to force Jalen Milroe to be something that he's not, because that cost us the game when we lost to Texas. That's exactly what the issue was. Well, mostly. And so I'm glad that our coaches, they're working with the skill set of the players, and they're working with the strengths, and they're amplifying it. So the sky's the limit. And like I said, we're going to all be in Atlanta in January for the national. I don't care who we play, because we're winning. So that's what it is. Go ahead and book y'all stuff. I mean, it's nothing to wait for.
Damn, pick it up, sir.
Man, you know, Bama going forward, I want y'all to understand, man, this is a revenge tour for Bama and for Coach DeBoer. You know, we both feel like, you know, we could have accomplished more last season. You know, you combine, you know, two angry entities that's, you know, out to, you know, scorch everything in the path, you know. So I expect Bama to go forward to be attacking, you know, be aggressive, be the giant slayer. You know, I expect Bama to ascend to the top of the mountain once again, and to keep it short.
Absolutely, and we're definitely going to have to attack next week. I know it's Vandy, but Diego Pavia is definitely a guy that we need to pay close attention to, and don't let him do a lot of running around. He's very elusive, great dual threat quarterback. He's been causing a lot of problems for a lot of teams, but we'll get to him next week. All right, guys, it's your time to shine. JT, you start at this time, and then we'll let Marshall finish it out. Comfort level, Bama going forward, what do we see?
So it's kind of going to run together right here, because it's going to be really quick, too. So, Marshall, show them real quick. SEC championship ring right here. That's the next thing we're going to, okay? And then following that, we go into the Natty, and we getting another one, baby, okay? So that's that easy, baby. So Bama going forward, we go into these championships. Bama's going to win. After this, man, I don't see how you can't. Petty, you let it off perfect. This is Alabama. This is the standard, okay? Bama just laid the smack of the down on them right there, okay? The smack down on the candy. Beep. Can beep it out. So just did it. All right. Now I'm telling you right now, if your mindset ain't on a natty, hop off the train. We don't need you here. I ain't saying it's like one of those things where it's, we're gonna win the natty, we're gonna win it, we're gonna win it. But that's the mindset. That's where it needs to be. We're going to championships, baby. Bama going forward, championships. So everybody that said 5-7 and those 7-5s and 9-3s, like, hold tight.
Justin,
Marshall?
real quick. I'm just going to make this. Who was the only person that said we were going to go undefeated when we did it right before the beginning of the season?
Marshall did.
I was the only person, and this game, in my opinion, proved it, because it's nothing but a confidence builder. Everybody stole everything that I was going to say. Like, literally, sky is the limit.
That's how they do, just like those rings y'all stole.
Yeah. Right. Like, what year y'all played?
I got it. When you're a fan, you can get them, baby. When you're a
They were hanging around the locker room.
That's what
Right.
it is. They were tending to sell Cokes, and that's not. And the Cokes were all flat.
Next
All
thing
right.
you know, rings are gone.
Definitely something great to build off of. We got a long season. Really excited about how we responded here. But Tennessee is looming, and we better be ready. They got a better offensive play caller. They have a dude at quarterback, and they got some receivers. So they are definitely the real deal. Real quick, before we get our players of the game, Nick Beasley Show, $10. Thank you so much. We replaced Bond and Downs with a younger and better Bond and Downs. All hail Hollywood and Brown. Love
Heck
it.
yeah.
Adolfo again, $5. If I'm a running back coming out of high school, I am not going to Bama. Running back's not getting the ball. Running backs there might leave after the season. Disagree. I think tonight they were taking what the defense gave them. And as former Alabama running backs who've been on our various shows have always said, you always have to go with the hot hand. Jalen Milroe had the hot hand, and you really don't stop that train. So that's how I feel about that. But before tonight, Jam and Justice were definitely given a lot of opportunities. So let's hold off on that.
And Milroe's a rare breed running the ball. Not
Right.
every quarterback's going to take the runs away from running backs like Milroe does. He's special.
Trust me, you don't want your running backs taking too many licks. You know,
Yeah, there's going to be a time when we rely on
that's the
those.
reason why Justice Haynes' father, sent them to Bama. Because we understand, he won't need a lot of touches to be able to perform at the next level and get drafted high.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, folks, let's get really involved. Chat, y'all have been awesome tonight. I want y'all to tell me your players of the game, one offensive, one defensive. All right, panel, it's your turn as well. We're going to start out with Sishi, then down to Petty, over to the brothers, and the star of the show, Dan, is going to finish it all up. Tell me who your offensive and defensive players of the game were. Sishi.
Yeah. Offense, none other than Ryan Williams himself. We knew he would be great. He was highly touted, and then he reclassified to come to Alabama in 2024. So I wasn't 100% sure if he would get his hand on the ball a lot, because I thought they were going to cover him a bit more than they did. But I'm so glad that, he just showed up and showed out. But on defense, I would have to say Xavier Brown, and it's crazy that they're both, freshmen, but those are my two.
I love it. Patty, what you got?
On defense, my boy, he's quickly becoming one of my favorite Bama linebackers in a while. And then it's not Russaw, but Jahad Campbell, man, showed up again and showed out tonight, had a pick, was all over the place. I love that guy more every game. Offense, come on, man. Jalen, he is, man, Milroe. Milroe is the man tonight. I think look, I know we don't like individual awards or talking about them. I don't give a shit. I do. I think Jalen Milroe.
I do what I want.
I can do whatever the hell I want. I'm on the show and I'm talking. So I talk about individual awards, and I think Jalen Milroe just put himself as the damn front runner for the Heisman. So deal with it.
Woo! Coming in hot. JT, come in hotter.
Petty.
About to start rapping.
No, Petty. I thought he was about to take my linebacker, because that man, Deontay Lawson, when I tell you, getting side to side tonight, that man was East Coast to West Coast on that field out there.
Yes, he was.
And I love it. He's had a little bit of a problem with that a little bit, but he was going from East Coast to West Coast out there, which I loved it. He was able to move, good hitting, good tackles, good out the field coverage too. So I'm definitely on him. It's probably one of my favorite. I thought you was about to say him when you said Campbell, but Campbell played great too. None against Campbell. Campbell played great. On offense, I'm going Milroe too. Obviously, what you said, Petty, I've also said this back in April, February. I said Milroe for the Heisman. I said Milroe was going to throw for 45 plus touchdowns altogether. I mean, not just throw, 45 combined total touchdowns. And that's looking more and more like that. Yeah, dude, what Milroe did tonight, man, is everybody's talking about the passing. Dude had 200 at a half, lighting it up. That pick ain't his fault. So in my opinion, He's rocking it out right now, man. And with the best team in the country too.
All right, Marshall.
Almost 500 total yards of offense and 4 TDs. That's stupid.
My defensive player of the game is Damani Jackson. He had the first pick, which I thought was an incredible body adjustment, really good placement, interception. But then they took him out, and you saw the damage. And we were talking, me and Josh were talking about it in the middle of the game. We were like, "Where's Jackson?" We could not. It was mind-boggling. But at the end of the game, they put him back in, and look what happens. You finally get a stop or whatever. And offense, the only right answer is Ryan Williams. If you don't have the juggle catch or the 75-yard TD, you don't win the game. I'm sorry, that's
true.
Like Milroe didn't do anything on those plays except, I know you're better than them. I trust you more. That was it. Exactly. Baby Randy Moss right there. That's literally what that was. It was absolutely insane.
Or what did Blake Sims you say? Fuck it, Coop's down there somewhere.
Oh my goodness.
Jalen Milroe officially has one of those plays.
Williams is down there somewhere.
Listen. Offensive player of the game, without a doubt, Jalen Milroe. Nearly 500 yards of total offense. He continued his record streak of multiple games with multiple touchdowns passing, multiple touchdown rushing. And on the defensive side of the ball, I'm gonna talk about a guy. He didn't get noticed a lot, but he was creating a lot of havoc on the interior, and that was James Smith.
Okay.
After
play, he was getting penetration and disrupting the run. And he was pushing the pocket a little bit, and I noticed that. Excellent game. I think by far his best game at Alabama.
That's number 23, right, Dan?
Yes.
Yeah. 23, yes.
Yeah, thought so. James Smith, yeah.
Absolutely.
Quay, right? Wasn't they the tag?
They were the two from Carver.
They came in together
from Carver, yeah.
Absolutely.
Make sure I remembered it. I thought I remembered that correctly.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hey,
for me,
big strip fumble with Quay right there.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That was huge.
That was huge.
That was
huge.
It was huge, but then I got really ticked off because we didn't do anything with that turnover. We ended up having a 3 and out. Thankfully, that didn't come back to bite us in the butt. Right. But in the future, when you're going against teams like that, when you have that moment, you've got to capitalize, because good teams, if you give them an opportunity, will come back and they will bite you in the butt. The Dogs almost did. Shout out to them for their effort tonight. They are a good team, regardless.
But luckily, we're talking about one of the best teams in the country almost came back on us. Not Western Kentucky almost came back.
Absolutely.
Like, we're talking about literally one of the best teams in the country right now almost came back. So it's like, that ain't, if anything, if we would have fumbled and lost, then you deserve to be laughed at and all that. But at this point, it's like, we fumbled a little bit, but we held it back. We got the dub. Let's move on.
What ranking do we go to?
That's a good.
I say 2. Yeah,
I say 7. Put us back like 3 spots.
No.
Josh, settle down. Yellow Wolf, settle down. For me,
Mountain Dew IV hooked in, and he's coming at y'all like a spider monkey.
Empty. I gotta get some more.
For me, offensively, without question, has to be Jalen Milroe. We've already been through all his stats and what he did as far in terms of a leadership role tonight. But on the defense, I'm going to go with someone who's maybe an unsung hero. He made a tremendous impact, and he had a game physically where he was beat up, but he kept on coming back in. He kept on making plays where they need to be made, and that was Devontae Smith.
Yeah.
So that is my defensive MVP. Real quick, one more super chat to get to. JR Too Nice, 199. 4 games in. Alabama ain't at their full peak yet. Absolutely. And I will remind everyone, listen, it's only 4 games. You can't rightly judge any team where they are just 4 games in. You're going to see the true version, their best version, in November. So let's hold off on any unfair criticism or maybe too much praise. But nonetheless, we won tonight. But we have reached the end of the show. But what we'd like to do is let the folks on this panel prop what they got. So start us out, Cishi, and tell folks where they can find you and about your show on Wednesday nights.
Yep. So you can find me right here on the Bama Standard Network. We have a show. I'm the host, Crimson Dynasty, every Wednesday night, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. And Mr. Dan himself, he is actually one of my co-hosts. He's awesome. So y'all have to check us out every Wednesday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we may have another show coming down the pipeline very soon. So y'all will see that soon. And then you can find me on Instagram at beauty_of_intelligence.
All right, Dan the man, talk to us.
You heard the lady, Wednesday nights on this very channel, the Crimson Dynasty. Tuesday nights, Final Whistle. You catch me on the post-game show Saturday nights. And, you catch me on X at the Final Whistle Dan, Instagram, Dan James 4. Y'all hit that like and subscribe for me.
Love it. What's your Venmo? I'm kidding. All right, fellas, the Sunday night Talking Bama crew. Tell the folks where they can find you, what you got coming up tomorrow night. And we'll start out with you, Marshall, and let JT finish it up. And then Petty will be the one who lets everybody know how they can find him and the millions of things he does.
I'm Marshall. You can find me at Sunday Night Talking Bama, and future purposes, I'll be in the Navy.
There you go. There you go. Not quite as impressive as being Batman, but it counts. Anyway, Josh. I'm just kidding.
Sunday Night Talking Bama tomorrow night, guys, 7 p.m. Central Time. Come join us. We're going to be breaking down this 4-2-5 defense against Georgia. I want to look at the whole thing. I'm going to go in depth on some stuff. We're going to bring out some notes and stuff on that as well, guys. We're also going to talk about Milroe for real Heisman contender look right here. And we're going to compare some other games with some other players with what Milroe has right now with who Milroe just played. And we're going to see so we're going to compare and weigh out and try to get our own Heisman list, basically. And I think Milroe, and you might be able to throw Ryan Williams up there, dude. When it's all Ryan Williams is making an argument right now to have
great
his
point
name lodged around in the top 10. Okay, I'm going to say top 10. I ain't going to say the whole shebang, but definitely a top 10 type player. So yeah, that's it, guys. Follow me on TikTok, Roll Tide Nation. Almost at 175,000. They're doing it, baby. Nothing but the Tide.
But Marshall, all seriousness, thank you for serving our country, buddy. We're very grateful. Petty, where can they find you and all your millions of shows on social media? And then to talk to you about gambling.
Started hot, ended the day kind of not, but you can find me on Twitter, X, whatever, at Petty_Daniel. You can find me on Facebook at Daniel Petty. But Mondays, man, 7:00 Central, the opening kick with I'm the host of the show. Got my co-host Gerald Smoke Dixon. We have a lot of guests on the show. It's more of a national flavor. This week, we're going to have Neil McCready of MPW Digital, also of the Rivals Network. He does the show with Tyler Siskey. He is all over the place. He's more of an Ole Miss writer, but he also has a show with A.J. McCarron once a week. So he was highly invested into the Bama game. So I imagine we're going to probably touch on his thoughts on Bama, Georgia. Then we'll probably get into I was going to discuss if Ole Miss is facing a trap game in South Carolina. We're now going to discuss what the hell the disaster is going on in Oxford and get his take on that. And he's also got some pretty good takes on the deal that was going on with UNLV and the players sitting out. I know that's kind of a small rumble right now, but there's a lot of reporters that believe that's about to be a serious issue at some major colleges. It happened at ULV. It's going to happen at a big school, and it almost has happened at other big schools. Him and Smoke have some very good insights on that. So as a college football fan, that's definitely something you're going to want to tune into. So again, Monday night, 7:00, the opening kick. I got Neil McCready, my boy Smoke Dixon. And then on Tuesday nights, like Dan said, at 8 Central, I'm on with the Final Whistle, man, with Avengers. We follow up the Bama Standard, and we're just on there usually. God knows what goes on that show from time to time, but we will be there doing it. And then you can catch me, like Cici said, we have a show called the Roll Tide Cafe that's in the works. Might be a morning show coming up here soon with me, Cici, and a new guy named John that you'll be seeing on here. And again, I'm with you guys on the post game. So that is it for Petty. I'm done talking.
Sounds great. That sounds great. And of course, you can find me on Tuesday nights, the Bama Standard, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern, with my colorful crew. I know you cannot wait to hear what the thoughts from Marvin and Smoke and Steve Brown are going to be. More importantly, Stephen M. Smith. We'll have a lot to talk about. We got a lot of season left to play, but hey, we took down them dogs tonight. Roll Tide, everybody.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
That's the bottom line. Why? Because Stone Cold said so.